Hello and welcome. It's Sunday night and it means it's time for flat out e-racing DTM racing. So this is season 7 of the flat out e-racing DTM racing season. We've had a few issues because we're using Gran Turismo 7 and we've got some issues with regards to lobbies, settings, that kind of thing. But we've come up with a model that we think is working okay, and so bear with us. We're trying to get there. We're trying to give everyone some decent racing to watch, and if you watched last week, you'd have seen that it was actually really good. So I'm just going to run through what the race model is. So we're using Group 3 Porsches, as you can see on the stream at the moment. Originally we had 2 races. One was a sprint with the grid positions following qualifying, but unfortunately at the moment on Gran Turismo 7 we can't have qualifying, so we've changed the format, and what we're going to do now is have an open practice session, which is what we're seeing now, and then the fastest time gets pole on the grid. So really it's like, instead of having a warm-up like we did on our previous seasons, we're basically just having a long qualifying session. And instead of having 2 races, one of which was a reverse grid in the previous seasons, at the moment, because of the restrictions with Gran Turismo 7, we're just going to run a 20-lap race. So the format is really qualifying, which is basically free practice, and then a 20-minute race with, a 20-lap race, which is set by the free practice times. The other thing to consider is that we're running dynamic weather in this season. So with the tracks that do allow it, there will be the chance of rain, and so you know, you've got a tyre choice from softs to mediums, hards, and then you've got intermediates and wets. And of course, any of us who play Gran Turismo know that you don't automatically have all these tyres in your inventory. You actually have to go and buy them. So the settings that we're using at the moment is balance of power will be on, and also tuning will be forbidden. And so we're just trying to level up the field a little bit, really. So last week we was at Trial Mountain. We had a cracking race there, lots of different strategies. The guys were running either flat out and using up the fuel and the tyres, and tyres seem to be going a bit quicker on the wear on softs anyway than the fuel. And then we had the guys who are running a bit of fuel saving, running harder tyres and getting a longer stint. At the moment, the tyre wear that we're using, I believe, is tyre degradation will be ×6, and fuel depletion will be ×6 as well. So heavy fuel usage, heavy tyre wear. So lots and lots of opportunity for different strategies. We saw guys last season running long at times because they didn't have maybe the 1 lap pace of some of the quicker guys, but with a bit of consistency and a bit of a decent race model, they could be up in the top 5 by running long, staying out, conserving their tyres and their fuel. Obviously everything's new at the moment on GT7, so we're just kind of trying to find our way. But again, there were some interesting results last week. I'll just go through the results. So Dan TGT won the race after a really good strategic battle with Stormfly. Stormfly was running on the mediums and basically had to put, I think, 1 extra time than Dan. Dan was running on the hards right from the beginning, and as a consequence he could go a bit longer with a bit of fuel saving. In the end, there was literally a couple of seconds that were separating them over a 50-minute race, and it was incredibly interesting to see the different types of strategy that people were using. And what's good is that people go up and down the field. I mean, if they're on a high fuel usage and high tyre usage, they seem to go up and down the field quite a bit. Whereas with the guys who are going long, they seem to go to the back and then work their way up through. So last week, Dan TGT won the race after a really good battle with Stormfly. These guys seem to be having an ongoing battle between each other in both Group 3 and Group 4. Just as a point of interest, Group 4 started last Wednesday as well. That's run by Simon, and there's room in that championship for drivers if you want to join that. Have a look on our Facebook page. The race settings are there. It's any Group 4 car, balance of power on, and tuning is prohibited. So going back to last week's results, we had Dan won the race, Stormfly was second, Stu Shelton, who raced with us a couple of seasons ago, and then basically didn't for a little while for whatever reason. He came back. He was always very good in the Porsche, always very good at fuel saving, and he had a cracking result last week, coming in third. Fourth was Vengeance, who we know races side by side with Britpack. Both Britpack and Vengeance have incredibly good single lap speed, just trying to get their strategies together, and those guys are really going to come good, I believe. Tuano finished in fifth. Great result for him. Very steady driver. You know, pretty strategic. And he's pulled a couple of really good results out of the bag by going long. And then behind him is our Polish friend Select, who has been with Flat Out E-Racing for a large number of seasons now. Really reliable driver, usually in the top 5, 6, whatever he competes in. Behind him was Jombold, who joined us last season, had a good season in the Porsches and has joined the Group 4s. Again, doing very well. Then we had Britpack Racing, which I think he had a bit of an unfortunate race really, because Britpack's usually, you know, up in the top, I don't know, 5, 6 racers, and unfortunately last week I think he must have had a collision, or either he was hit or he hit a barrier, suffered a lot of damage, had to pit early, and unfortunately it kind of strategically impaired his race. Behind Britpack we had Loxek, again a guy who's been with us for quite a few seasons now, always has been very fast. Not his best weekend last weekend, unfortunately. He's usually again in the top 5 or 6, just maybe finding his feet with the Porsche. And then behind him we had R80. R80, or John, is hosting the Group 3 Championships, and usually midfield sort of guy. He's usually pretty consistent, doesn't often crash out that often unless he's been hit, but unfortunately last week I think he had a bit of a spin, just like the one we're watching him have one now. Well done, John. And it kind of really messed his race up really. So there you go. So at the moment Dan's leading the championship, Stormfly is second, Stu Shelton third, and then we got Vengeance, Tuano, Select, Jombold, Britpack Racing, Loxek and R80. Two of the Greek guys, Timras and Chilibas, who race with us all the time, unfortunately they had access problems to the lobby last week, which is a real shame, because they always do make a real important contribution. Unfortunately we do get these glitches every now and again, and we just got to roll with it, I'm afraid. So that's where we are up to date. The only thing I forgot to mention really was that the format that we're using at the moment is we start each race with half tank fuel, and so again this throws up lots of different strategic possibilities. You can either go hell for leather and get some quick times in but pit more often, or undertake a bit of fuel saving and then basically pit less, but sorry, just reading Neil Hall, Neil Hall, Nolly's mate, who usually races with us in Group 4 and Group 3. I think he's listening tonight on YouTube. Nice to see you, Neil. I know things have been a bit tricky for you lately, mate, but we're all here for you, and hopefully we'll see Neil back racing with us next weekend. He's sorely missed, and even though when I race with him he's a lot slower than me, I still enjoy watching him in my rear view mirrors. Just a joke there, Neil. Hopefully that'll cheer you up a bit, mate. Okay, so we've got about 4 minutes to go, so let's see where we are with regards to so at the moment we got Chili Bus at the moment on a 1:39.078, good time. He's holding pole at the moment. That's an incredibly good time around Fuji. Fuji's one of those tracks you seem to love and hate, love or hate I should say. I'm one of the haters really. I always find these really tight bends very frustrating, and you kind of overrun a lot of, carry too much speed in. You've got to be so patient in these tight corners, and so much time to be won or lost in low speed and medium speed corners. And the better guys, you know, like Stormfly and Dan and the Greek guys are so good at this, whereas I always seem to struggle. So yeah, Chili Bus at the moment on pole. Let's see how everyone else is doing. So Lockset at the moment, just a bit of a spin there. His best time at the moment seems to be 1:40. So not too far off the pace, not really, probably about 9/10. Tuano at the moment, he's hit, I don't seem to be able to bring up his times at the moment, unfortunately. He's got a 1:36 and 1:42, but the 1:36 is probably a pit exit. So at the moment his best time seems to be 1:42. Then we've got Timorous, he's on a 1:40.3, very respectable time there. We've got Dan, who's usually one of the front guys, driven the Porsche on 3 other championships. Always very quick down, very good at fuel saving and conserving his tyres. However, there does seem to be a distinct difference in race model when Dan's racing Stormfly. They seem to have a different method, and it's very interesting to see, because they kind of get the better of each other at different intervals. Some tracks seem to suit Stormfly, and some seem to suit Dan better. We have another chap who races with us, one of the Greek guys, Season7, who is again an incredibly quick guy. Unfortunately he's not racing with us at the moment. He's just coming to terms with GT7, so hopefully he'll be joining us again soon. Lastly, I better mention Trevor and Spencer. Trevor usually commentates Group 3 stuff, and his friend Spencer from Jacksonville helps him and joins him, and they have a great duo commentary thing going on. They're not quite up to speed with GT7 yet, so I'm kind of just filling in until they are on board. Obviously nowhere near as good as them, but I'm just trying to give us commentary, because our model for flat out racing is good, clean, fair racing. We nearly always try and supply comms. It just gives that more authentic feel, really. I'm from the south coast, as you can probably tell from my accent, so I do apologise if I sound a bit like a carrot cruncher, but unfortunately at the moment you've just got to live with it. Okay, so I think we're just about ready to make a start. Looks like Tuano's left the room, so hopefully that's nothing too serious and he's going to be coming back in. So I think John will probably run it, R80 will probably start the race at about 9 o'clock, which is usually when we start. And then we'll get going. So this is only a 4-week race calendar that we're running on at the moment, because it's the first one we're doing on GT7. As we said, you know, we're really finding our feet. There's so much that needs to be improved and changed with GT7. It's a real shame really, because we had such a good model in the last 2 or 3 seasons. We had everything fairly well fine-tuned, but at the moment with Gran Turismo 7, the racing dynamics are better, the graphics are better, the physics are better, but it's just the lobby settings and things like that that need fine-tuning. So here we go. I think we're about to start now. Oh, looks like somebody's got a grid grid glitch there. So Chili Bass is on pole, and we've got Stormfly, Locksec, Vengeance, Stewie Sheldon, Timorous, Dan TGT, and then Britpack Racing, John Bold, Yellow Sausages, Tuano, CC Select, and John Riley. So lights are all on, they're going on, we're waiting for the start here, so let's go. Oh dear, bit of a false start there it looks like by Chili Bass. He seems to have got away okay, so at the moment we've got Chili Bass in first, Locksec right up behind him, Stu behind him. Keep it clean guys, going, looks like we had a bit of a spin there. Locksec's gone wide by the looks of it. Yep, he's still on the grass. Chili Bass is still holding the lead. Somebody's got a penalty there. Looks like Vengeance. Always the first 2 or 3 corners are really tricky. It's always hard. Sometimes the more you try and stay out of trouble, the more trouble finds you. I think you've just got to keep your head down and go. So here we are at the moment. So Chili Bass is holding up in first. He's on the racing softs, which we know don't last very long at the moment, and it looks like he's got a bit of damage, so rear bumper and the rear wheel. Locksec's there in second, no damage on softs again. As you can see, everyone's on half a tank of fuel. I did notice earlier, it looks like we've got a bit of a move going on, so Vengeance is up behind Jon Bold at the moment, or RGT as he's known there, and we know Vengeance is quick. Got to be a bit patient. Half the time in these tracks it's not about diving in and making a move straight away, it's more about taking your time, waiting for the guy in front to get a bit nervous, go a bit wide, make a slight mistake, and then seizing the chance. And behind Vengeance we've got Timorous. Timorous got a bit of a penalty there. Vengeance got a 5-second penalty, that's massive. And then Timorous behind him has got a 2-second. Timorous taking the inside of Vengeance there by the looks of things. Is he going to make it stick? Yeah, I think he has. Well done. Oh no, I think Vengeance is going to outdrag him. Oh yeah, Vengeance is still there. Timorous, I don't know what Timorous is doing. He's slowed down. I don't know if he's running that penalty down. I'm not 100% sure at the moment whether our penalties have to be run down, or whether they have to, or whether there's a penalty icon that you hit, and when you go around the track and it slows you down. So by the looks of it, I think they had a couple of chaps go in the pit stop. Let's see if we can see who's gone in there. Yeah, so we've got Yellow Sausages has gone in, and at the moment he's on mediums by the looks of it. Stormfly's gone in, and Dan's gone in. So it looks like Dan is in at the moment, he's fueling right up, and he's gone on hard, so he's got a bit of damage to the front right. I don't think he's changed his tyres. He's got damage to the front right hand side. Anyhow, let's get back to the race. Sorry about that. So Chili Bass is coming under attack at the moment, a little bit by Locksec. We have noticed that the dynamics of the tow that you get at the moment from the car in front is probably a little bit different than it used to be on Gran Turismo Sport. I found when I was following somebody that you would gain a huge amount of time when you were behind them, within about 0.75 of a second. But the tow you seem to get in GT7 doesn't seem to be quite as big, I found anyway. So here we go, Chili Bass is holding on there. He's not defending at the moment by the looks of it. He went wide there to take a wide apex hit. Locksec is still behind him, 0.3 of a second, so he should get a form of a tow along here. He's just tucked right up beside him. This is where he's going to make his move. I'd imagine Chili Bass will go right and defend. Yeah, he's moving over. Not weaving, but moving, that's fine. So Locksec's going to go on the outside and try and outdrag him to the corner. Big arse, because this is a tight first gear corner. Nice clean racing there, guys. That's good to see. And it looks like Locksec's gone right. Oh, a bit of contact there. Oh, no, big contact there. I don't think there was any intent. I think there was a coming together, and then the cars kind of reacted to it. So that's put Jon Bold in first. I'm sure the stewards will have a look at that previous contact there, and we'll get the result of that a bit later. So fortunately for Jon Bold, he's still on racing softs. He's got about a quarter of a tank left, and he's in front. And Chili Bass seems to have recovered from that incident, but he's got massive engine damage. I think he's definitely going to have to pit. He's got engine damage, and he's got rear wheel damage and rear bumper damage. So not only is the car not performing, the engine of the car isn't performing, but with that damage to the wheels and the rear bumper, he'll be suffering massive aerodynamic deficiency. So at the moment, Jon Bold is pulling away, 4 seconds in front at the moment. As you can see, stretching it out. The softs now have done 3 laps. I think softs really you're looking at maybe 4 or 5 laps, maybe 6 if you're lucky. So 3, just coming up to halfway, he's coming up to the end of the 3rd lap at the moment, and he's on about a quarter of a tank, so maybe with half a tank you're looking about 6 laps at the moment. He seems to be short shifting, he's probably about 75% rev, something like that, so he is saving fuel. Stu Sheldon has overtaken Chubas, as has John Riley. Stu's dropping his penalty there, well done Stu, nice to see that. And John Riley goes into 2nd. So let's hop on board with John at the minute. He's on racing softs. Used a bit more fuel at the moment. You can see when RGT61 went over the line, he had a good quarter of a tank left. John's a bit under that, so he's been a bit heavy on the throttle as John, but it's very easily done in these Porsches. They do over rev, and their peak performance seems to be right at the end of their rev range, whereas a lot of other Group 3 cars, you can kind of get the same performance with a lower rev disengagement. So, such as the Mercedes, you can kind of like, and the Aston, you can kind of like rev about 80%, and you seem to get more or less the same performance as if you're revving right to the end of the range. So at the moment, by the looks of things, RGT61 has definitely pulled out quite a big gap really, and he's still fuel saving. He's got quite good fuel, his tyres got fairly handy, so he's going purple. So at the moment he's in fairly good shape. Be interested to see what happens. We did see earlier that a few guys dived into the pits quite early, so they're obviously looking to go in, put on some hards or mediums, tank right up and go long. So I think whilst things have calmed down a little bit, or a bit of damage there in the front of RGT's car, we're just going to run down the field and see where everyone's at. We've got a field of 13 tonight. So first place is RGT with about 5.7 seconds at the moment. Second we've got R80. No damage, heavy tyre wear, and he's a bit low on fuel there, so I think this is probably going to be his last lap before he has to pit. So John will probably have to do a bit of fuel saving, and he's gone into it. So beating to it, he's gone in now to tank up. And I think someone else has just gone in, Timorous. So Timorous, who's in 4th, has gone in. Then we've got, so that means that Stu Sheldon goes into 2nd. He's 9 seconds behind RGT at the moment. Bit of damage there. Stu's had a bit of an impact somewhere. Bumpers, front rear bumpers, and front right hand side tyre. And then we've got Britpack. At the moment, he's in 3rd. Quite low fuel, he's going to have to fuel save on this lap a little bit I think. A bit of damage also, seems there's been a lot of contact which I've probably missed most of. And his mate Vengeance is right behind him at the moment. Overtaken on the about side, I think that's on turn 3 or 4 there. I thought he had him then, but this is a tight 2nd gear corner, and then you basically drive it through, and then we've got this long sweeping corner here, and then flat out to the tight right hand corner down at the end. Always very easy, usually brake at the yellow bridge overhead. Very easy to under brake here, and as you can see these softs are looking a little bit unhealthy there, so Britpack's probably going to pull in and pit this time. And Vengeance damage to the front bumper, and I think his softs are just about to let go, so he'll probably be coming in the pits. Dan, oh my goodness dear. And so Dan just had a massive spin there. He's on hards. He's got a 3/4 of a tank of fuel. Luckily, oh dear, he hasn't seemed to have sustained that much damage. Which, I mean, he hit that wall really hard then. So I kind of thought he'd have more damage than that. And that, it's showing now. I do apologise. So he's got damage to front bumper, rear bumper, and both left-hand side, front and rear wheels. So that's really damaged his race now, because he's just pitted, and either he's got to pit again and suck up an extra stop, or he's going to have to carry this damage and try and see it through, which is going to be hard. That car's going to change in handling. Aerodynamically, the braking points change, your acceleration will change, everything changes as soon as you sustain damage to your car. And then in 10th we've got Loxek. He's got a penalty to run out, half a second. He's on mediums, no damage, but he's looks like he's finding that car a bit of a handful at the moment. So he's down in 10th. He's about nearly a minute behind the leaders at the moment, but he's pitted early, and so it looks like he's going to be good for probably another 7 or 8 laps there. And we've got Select on 11th, he's pitted early as well, he's on softs. He's on just over 3/4 of a tank. And then we've got Tuano, who had a big out off earlier, big impact. He's now on mediums, fully tanked, and looking good with no damage at all. So let's see where we are with the leaders. So Stu at the moment is 41 seconds ahead. He's just about to run out of fuel, and he's got a lot of damage. So there's no doubt he'll run in the pits this time. So I'm not quite sure what the pit length is at the moment. A full pit stop, that's with 4 tyres, fuel, and obviously where Stu's got damage, he'll probably have to pop in and when he pits and get that repaired as well. So that means we'll see, because RGT's 61 seconds behind. So let's stick with him and see where he comes out, because at the moment Stu's in the pits and RGT is just going through at the moment the penultimate corner. So this tight left-hander, second gear, then you've got to get the apex ready for the last corner. Usually you can sit out wide, exactly what he's doing now. Cut in tight in second gear again, and open it up on the straight. Good lines there from RGT. So he's going along the start-finish straight now, and Stu's still in the pits, and at the moment they're fueling, and at the moment I don't think the damage has been repaired. So that's going to, and he's gone on softs. Very interesting. So that's going to push Stu down the field a bit. So at the moment we've got RGT. He's on 3/4 of a tank, just over. He's got mediums, which are wearing quite well, and that's a true race position, because I believe at the moment everyone's stopped, and so he's done incredibly well, and he's just gone purple. So well done to him. Behind him we've got Stormfly. So Stormfly on half a tank, he's on hards. You can see hards obviously will take a lot more wear than the mediums, but they are slower, and your braking points have to change. The dynamics of the corner are slightly different, easier to slide out, and a lot easier to experience understeer and oversteer. He's on half tank fuel, so I'd imagine, I don't know at the moment, he's either trying to get a bit of a tow from RG261, or he's just taking his time. I mean, we have spoken to some of the guys before, and they are quite happy at times just to sit behind another driver and get a tow when they're on lower fuel. And so with RGT at the moment punching a big hole in the air in front of Stormfly, Stormfly can run behind him and simply get a decent tow from him and conserve some fuel. However, saying that, he's got a better exit from that corner. He's sat right behind RGT61 now, and he's just pushed out wide. Let's see if we can find a better view in a minute. So here we are inside with Stormfly. Yep, he's getting a massive tow there at the moment, right behind RGT1. Is he going to duck out and have a look? RGT1, I thought 61 would probably defend. No, he's going for the racing line. He's taking a wide entrance and tight apex into turn 1. So Stormfly's just sitting with him at the moment. Bit of a sensible thing to do, really. He's on lower fuel, and at the moment I think he went a bit crazy and used up. So you can see he's short shifting and just getting a nice tow from RGT1. So a really clever thing to do there by Stormfly. But if RGT does make a mistake, go wide or something similar, then I mean obviously Stormfly will just go through. He's getting better exits all the time at the moment. Those lines that Stormfly seems, he always seems to put his car in the right place, and as we say it, he takes the lead. So he's just waited there. I think RGT61's on the inside. Yep. Oh yeah, we can see there from Yellow Sausages. Yeah, good racing there. Let's pop up a minute. So Stormfly now has the lead, but RGT61's, you know, within half a second, 3/4 of a second behind him, but he is losing time now, which he shouldn't really, because I believe he's on, I think Stormfly's on the hards and RGT61's on the medium, so he should be get a better purchase in the corners and better traction on the exits. But behind RGT61 is Yellow Sausages. He's under a second behind him. He's on mediums, and he's on quite a bit less fuel, so maybe the thing that Chris, who I know as Yellow Sausages, is going to do is try and he's probably got about 2 or 3 laps in there in that fuel tank. So maybe the good thing to do is to get in front of RG61. Then maybe you're going to lose the place with a fuel stop, but basically just try and hang it out there. So I think we've just had a comment from IE Motorsport. He's saying, come on Britpack. Britpack always seems to get the most support on the YouTube channel, so he's obviously paying these friends of his to big him up, so fair play, you know. So at the moment in 4th we've got Timorous. He's about 2.6 seconds behind Yellow Sausages, or Chris, and he's about 2.7 seconds in front of Stu Shelton. So Stu's got damage again, so I don't know whether that's damage that he didn't get repaired in the last pit stop, or whether he's had an issue when he's exited the pits. He's on mediums, so they're going to be fairly well, going to wear fairly well, but he's down to about a third of a tank already, which is surprising really. Oh, it looks like we've got an issue. Oh no. So Chris has gone off. I don't know whether there's been contact there or he just quite simply lost it. These cars are much harder to contain in GT7 than they are in GTS, no doubt. Oh, and here's the reason why. Just started raining. So I think this is the time when the guys are either going to pit. Let's get up the front a minute. Is anyone going to jump in the pits and put on some intermediates? Oh yep, so Stormfly's going in. He's on a quarter of a tank. They do get an app. They do get on their display, they get a weather app that shows them if there's a cloud over that's heavy in rain, and they can make the judgment call whether to go into the pits or not and change the tyres. So let's see what he's going to put on. I think he's going to put on intermediates. I'm just saying that. He's put on hards. Oh, there we go. So he obviously thinks that the rain isn't going to be that intense. So let's pop out for a minute. So at the moment, if you see that little icon on the bottom left-hand side, beside the tyre wear, that tells you how much water's on the racetrack at the moment. And so it's split into thirds, and you can see the picture of the tyre with a drop in the middle of it, to the left-hand side of it. So my understanding is that if the water on the track surface is within the first third, you can get away with just normal tyres. And then if it's in the middle sector, then you need to consider using intermediate tyres. But if it's in the top sector, which is obviously heavy rainfall, lots of rain on track, then you need to put on some wets fairly quickly. With this dynamic weather, we never really know what the weather's going to be and when it's going to happen. So it should make some really interesting racing. And it could open up a lot of opportunities for people. I mean, you know, guys who are at the back and it starts hammering it down and they can zip in the pits and put on some wet tyres, then that could work incredibly well for them. So let's have a quick rundown at the moment. Stu Sheldon in second. He's got John Riley behind him, and Stu's carrying a bit of damage. John Riley, I think, is on similar fuel and similar tyre wear. So we'll sit with this for a minute and see where it takes us. John just powered out the outside there, got a decent toe off Stu, and has taken position on the start-finish straight, and he'd done it before even the braking zone for turn 1. Nice tight line there by John. Stu now is obviously going to tuck in behind John and try and get a bit of a toe off him and see what he can get out of it. I don't know quite. We obviously get lots of with the damage that's incurred by these cars on heavy damage. It's very hard sometimes to judge what damage equals what. So if you've got damage to the engine, for argument's sake, heavy damage, then obviously the performance of the cars completely impaired. However, if you've got damage to say the front 2 wheels, I don't know whether that will cause more of a detrimental performance to the car than, say, the front bumper. I mean, technically, if the front and rear bumper are damaged, it's going to really impair the aerodynamics of the car. And so it'll be interesting if anyone knows that information, if they can shed some light on it. And so a bit of a royal battle going on here. So John got past Stu at the end of last lap, sorry, the beginning of this lap. Bit of understeer there from Stu Sheldon, still on the back of John Riley. He's only just about 0.8 seconds behind, but I think John is just starting to pull out a little bit. But I think Stu's got a better exit there on start-finish straights. I mean, if ever probably that he's going to get a chance to get closer to him, this is it. But if you look at the time difference, John is really powering away. So perhaps that's what's happening. Perhaps the damage to Stu's car is quite simply taking its toll on his top-end speed. And he is fuel saving as well, quite a bit. Did you see that? In 6th gear, he was only just touching on the start of the rev range. At the moment, there's someone else we haven't seen much of, and that's Dan. So Dan at the moment is down, by the looks of it, in 7th. He's set the fastest lap, and so he's obviously quick. And as usual, Dan sometimes uses a bit of a different strategy to everyone else, and then comes up fairly trumped usually at the end. So this battle's really going on. These guys are fighting really 0.12 of a second there. Stu's still staying with John. Whether he's going to try and overtake him or get a cheeky toe, that remains to be seen. It looks like Stu's got enough for maybe one more lap. Whereas John, yeah, he's definitely got enough for one more lap, maybe two. Those mediums though, they don't last very long at all. And you can see, look at John's rear left-hand side, that's definitely taking a bit of a hiding at the moment. So let's, I think what we'll do now, I think we'll stay with these guys for a little bit at the moment. It doesn't seem, looking at the race map, these guys seem to be the ones that are closest at the moment, so we'll just stick with them. And John's, I don't know whether he's going in the pits or trying to break a bit of a toe there from Stu. Perfectly legal move to go from one track side to the other. No, he has gone in the pits. So, surprising that, I think he had enough fuel really for another lap, but he's decided to go in because I think his tyres are shot. And so we're on lap 12, so we've got 8 laps to go. So I think he will need another 2 stops. I don't know what these guys are getting out of a fuel tank at the moment, but he's put in a mighty performance. Possibly go on the hards here maybe, and that will see him there, and maybe a bit of fuel saving. So we'll see. So at the moment, Loxek's in the pits, we've got Timrus in the pits, and Dan's in the pits. So what's Dan doing? He's right out, he's on mediums. And usually Dan's a guy who likes to run on the hards and goes long, and I'd be very surprised if he doesn't go on the hards here now. He's gone on mediums again by the looks of it. Anyway, let's get some time on track. So Yellow Sausages, he's just gone past, he's at the moment, he's sitting in 6th. I think he's come out just behind John Riley. This will be interesting. So John's come out, his tyres are cold. He needs to get them some temperature in them as soon as possible. Behind him he's got Yellow Sausages. His tyres are good, he's on hards, he's got good fuel. So John's on the medium, so we'll have a bit of a quicker tyre on him, but you do have to get him up to temperature. And at the moment, when somebody's behind you like that, it's very easy to try too hard, too quick, and maybe make a mistake. But John's on for quite a good race at the moment. If he can keep it on track, not make any silly mistakes. And so is Yellow Sausages. But saying that, John's got a full tank in him. And with a bit of saving, you can see at the moment he's revving just past the halfway mark on his race, so he is fuel saving. We don't get to see the bit of a twitch there. We don't get to see if they're actually on a fuel saving map, which is unfortunate. But again, this battle seems to be going on and on and on. I mean, I think this has been raging now for about 5 or 6 laps. Anyway, let's pop up the front and have a bit of a rundown. So at the moment, we've got Vengeance. Looks like he's, at the moment, he's got rid of all that damage, so he's pitted obviously, and he's got some fairly, probably 50% worn mediums at the moment, probably a third of a tank, so he's probably going to pit within about 3 or 4 laps, and then we'll see him through to the end of the race. He's 25 seconds at the moment in front of his mate Britpack. Britpack, he's on hards, he's on a third of a tank, so he's probably got about another 2 or 3 laps before we need to stop. But what'll be interesting is that those hards don't really have that much wear, and he could potentially stop without changing them, which will give him a faster stop. Behind him we got Timorous. Timorous is on 3/4 of a tank on hards. I would bet that that's going to see him to the end. We know that Timorous and Chili Bass are incredibly good at fuel saving. All the Hellenic racing guys seem to have a knack for it. They're very good with their fuel and very good with their tyres. So Timorous a bit of a dark horse here, because at the moment, if we can make this last until the end, which is another 6 laps, I think we were getting, I think we can, I think we were getting about 3 or 4 laps, maybe at full bore with half a tank. If he can carry out a bit of fuel saving on 3/4 of a tank, he's on hard tyres, he could very well make this finish on that set without stopping. Behind him we got Stu Sheldon, who's got past John now by the looks of things. He's still carrying damage. He's gone just over half a tank. He's about 5 seconds behind Timorous, and he seems to have about 4 seconds on John. So R80, or R Riley as he's known now, was having that battle earlier with Stu Shelton. Stu's got past him now and seems to have pulled out a bit of a gap, but now behind him we've got Yellow Sausages. So Yellow Sausages, or Chris as we know him, he is about just over a second behind John. Very good in the Porsche also, Chris. He also done incredibly well with fuel saving strategies before. I remember Spa once, the race length was shortened, and Chris very cleverly went for a 1 stop when everyone else, well, most other people went for 2, and he done incredibly. I think he got 3rd actually. So Chris is having a good race there. So it's all fairly well mixed up at the moment. And I think if we, I think I just saw Vengeance pit, and so he has got fresh tyres and he's on softs. Ooh, 5 laps to go on the softs. That's a bit of an ask. He's got enough fuel, I'd imagine. Just over half a tank. And behind him we've got Lockset, who's on softs. He's done a few more laps on those. They've got a bit of a wear, but he's on about the same fuel as Vengeance. So it'll be interesting to see where these guys come out. This seems to be where the action is at the moment. But I'm just going to pop back because it looks like Tuano and Stormfly are having a bit of a battle. So Tuano's on mediums, which will last you another 5 laps easy. He's on 3/4 of a tank, which also will last into the end of the race with a bit of fuel saving. So I think now most of the guys who are out there probably won't need to stop. Stormfly's on hards, and he's got similar fuel to Tuano, and so by the looks of things, he can make it to the end as well. But Tuano's on the faster tyre, but Stormfly's on the tyre that's going to wear better. So I think you'll probably find that this battle's going to go on for a while. So I think we'll stick with it for a little while and see what happens. So Stormfly at the moment is about 0.6 of a second behind Tuano. It's a lovely view, isn't it? Great view there. Sat inside that Porsche. Not getting much of a tow, to be honest. Like we said earlier, the whole tow dynamic seems to be very different to that of Gran Turismo Sport. It was almost a given when you was behind somebody in Gran Turismo Sport within 0.8 of a second on a straight, you would take them because the tow was so strong, but the dynamics seem to be very different in GT7. So he's just holding about a second off at the moment from Tuano. He probably needs to get about another couple of attempts a bit closer if he can to kind of get a decent tow off him, which will help him with his full fuel efficiency and speed. Tight wide line there by Stormfly. So that seems to have settled at the moment. Then behind we got RGT, and behind him we got Dan. So Dan's had a quiet race really. He's got half a tank left, he's on mediums. He's probably, oh, looks like somebody's had an issue further up the field. Dan's just gone fastest, so perhaps now he's got enough fuel. He's got 4 laps to go at the end of this one. He's got about half a tank. Oh, bit of a snap there. Oh, that back end really went round there. Somebody's gone off. Oh no, what's happened there? Somebody's gone wide. Looks like it was John Riley. Oh dear, oh dear. We was talking earlier about getting a bit of consistency and what a difference it made to it. Oh no, Yellow Sausages looks like he's just spun. Oh dear, and brick pack. So I don't know whether the tyres are letting go now for these guys, but everyone seems to be struggling a little bit. So Timorous in front by 6.5 seconds. He's on hards. He's got half a tank of fuel. This will get him to the end of the race. So it looks like Timorous is, unless he can keep it on the island, he's got 6.8 seconds on Stu Sheldon behind him. Stu at the moment is on mediums and he's still got that damage. Those mediums probably be okay for 3 laps, and he's got good fuel. So can he make it? 7.2 seconds now, so can he make that up? It's a big ask really, because even though he's on the faster tyre, he's got that damage, which obviously is going to have a big effect on his aerodynamics. So then we got Vengeance at the moment. He's sitting 3rd. He's 7.3 seconds behind Stu, but he's got Tuano right behind him. Tuano is on mediums, Vengeance is on soft. Softs usually don't last for much more than about 4 or 5 laps, but I think we've only got about 3 laps to go, and looking okay. His fuel's good. He's got a bit of damage though to that front bumper and front right hand side wheel, so that could kind of be slowing him up a little bit. Less traction in the corners. When you do get a bit of damage, you usually find that everything changes. Your braking points, your exit speed, you have less traction in the corners. It's just a completely different ball game, and you're suddenly going from racing to managing. It's a very, very different thing. However, Vengeance is a very good racer, very quick as we know. He's holding position at the moment. Tuano's behind him. He's on mediums, good fuel. He's getting a bit of a tow. He's catching him up. He's down to about 0.9 of a second. He's got 3 laps to do it, so I think we just need to be a bit patient really. But behind him we've got Stormfly. Stormfly at the moment is sat half a second behind Tuano. These guys have been duking it out for the last 3 or 4 laps, I think. Tuano, oh no, oh, that's such a shame. Tuano was doing so well. It looks like he might have just put his rear tyre on the grass, lost a bit of traction, which threw the car around. That's a real shame, because he was potentially on there for a 3rd or 4th. He was in 4th, and he was closing in on Vengeance, so that's really disappointing. I really feel for him there. So behind Stormfire we've got Dan. Dan's at the moment, he's obviously still on medium, showing a bit of wear now. He's got locks up behind him, but Dan's got good fuel left, and I think those mediums will be okay now to the end of the race. No Loxex quick. He's on softs, but they are totally shot. Look at that. He's going to be losing so much time in a minute. Once they get to about 30%, 40% wear, the change in grip is just phenomenal. It's a real battle. And so I think he's going to have trouble getting anywhere near Dan, and I think he's going to have trouble holding off RGT61. RGT61's on the mediums, he's got plenty of fuel. You'll probably find now he's going to start closing up to Loxet. As soon as Loxet's tyres start going, and he's got like 2 laps to get out of them, and they're absolutely worn. On the straights it's not so bad. Once he's got up to speed, it's good, but it's the braking, it's the exit speed on corners. That's where he's going to really struggle. So let's pop down. We've got R80 in 8th. John had a bit of a mishap earlier. He was sitting he had a really good race strategy. He was sitting good. He was sitting probably in the top 5. But unfortunately, I think he had a bit of an issue and either span off. He's still got damage left to the rear bumper and the rear right hand side tyre. So spoilt his race really, but he's in 8th. He's 5 seconds behind RGT61 and 5 seconds in front of Tuano. So he's been very respectable really. We've got Tuano behind John, who obviously went off just now in that battle with Stormfly. Selecting a bit of no man's land really. 7.5 seconds behind Tuano, 8 seconds in front of Yellow Sausages. Yellow Sausages, heartbreaking race for him really. He was doing incredibly well. He had that massive off earlier when he was fighting with John Riley. Britpack, frustrating day for him again. We know he's got speed, we know he's got good strategy. He's just got to try and keep it on the track a bit more. Looks like he might be pitting. I think he might be going and sitting in the pits, and he's out of the points I think now, and so he's going to sit in there. So let's pop up the front and see where everyone is. So Timorous, 10.8 seconds at the moment. He's on the final lap, and it looks like it's the win's his to lose really. So he's on the hards, which has got hardly anywhere. He's got loads of fuel, which is good. I Behind him we got Stu Sheldon, and then behind Stu Sheldon we got Stormfly, who's about just over 2.5 seconds behind Stu Sheldon. Behind Stormfly we got Vengeance, he's about 1.8 seconds at the moment. And then behind him we got Dan TGT, who's just put in a move on Vengeance on turn 1 there, tried to outbrake him on the inside, took the tighter apex and didn't quite make it stick, but he's on mediums, Vengeance on softs, but the tyre wear's quite similar. They both got similar fuel, and so really, if you look at it, I think really Vengeance has got the tyre advantage, even though they're quite badly worn, but he has got a bit of damage to that front bumper. Oh no, a bit of contact there. Oh dear, looks like Dan took the tight inside there, and there was contact between the two. I think there was a gap there to go for, but we'll have a look at that a bit closer after the race. But they're still at it. Dan, I think, did give the space back, the point and place back, so well done Dan. He's shaping up behind Vengeance to see if he can make this stick. I think we're just going to, we can see that Timorous is just coming onto the start-finish straight. Dan's got past Vengeance again. Can he make it stay before the end of the race? Let's pop up and see Timorous come in. Great race by Timorous there, well done. Really good strategy, kept his nose clean, and in the end he's won by 11 seconds, 11.2 seconds. He hasn't won in Group 3 for a while, and so that's a really good win for him. I'm very pleased for him there. So well done Timorous, that's good. And the second we got Stu Sheldon, he's coming in now. Another solid performance by Stu, I think he got 3rd last week. Stormfly coming in 3rd, well done to him. Dan got past Vengeance and he's coming in on 4th. And then we got Vengeance in 5th. And then we've got Locksec, who's coming in 6th. RGT 7th. John Riley in 8th. Could have done a lot better today, John, really. I think he had a bit of bad luck. Shame, really. I think he had top 5 written all over him. Twano in 9th. Had that big off earlier. And then we've got CC Select in 10th. Again, you usually expect them to be a bit further up the field. And then in last place we got Yellow Sausages in 11th, and then last place sat in the pits is Britpack. So there you go, 20 laps, and that was incredibly eventful. And I mean, at one point I thought we was going to have heavy rain, and I thought everyone was going to be diving into the pits and changing tyres, but we only seem to have had a shower, and so that really didn't materialise. But what a great race by Timorous. Never saw him coming today. I mean, I thought if you had said to me at the beginning of the race who's going to be the top 3, I probably would have put Timorous in the top 5 rather than the top 3. But we know these Greek guys, they work on their strategies, they work on their tyre wear and fuel depletion, and he's done a cracking job here today. I think one of his race mates, Chili Bass, who started the race earlier, left. Unfortunately, he may have had some problems in the lobby and it was glitching, so a shame that. So anyway, so final positions, I think we've got time to go through them. So Timorous in 1st, Stu Sheldon, cracking performance from him again in 2nd. 3rd we got Stormfly. You know, Stormfly is usually in the top 3, he's either 1st or 2nd, usually battling out with Dan, so even though that's a very good result, I think that's he's made the best of a bad day there, really. Dan, we're used to seeing him in 1st or 2nd, really, and again, I think he might have had a lot of damage earlier, which has impaired his race, so again, it's damage limitation there for Dan. But if you look at the top 5, top 6 even, you know, these guys are all really fast guys, they're all race winners. We've got Timorous, who's won races in Group 3 and 4. Stu Sheldon's won races in both classes. Stormfly, you know, he's won the Group 3 championship 2 years in a row. Sorry, 2 seasons in a row. And then we've got Dan, who's won the Group 3 and he's always been in contention. Sorry, Group 4, he's always been in contention for Group 3. He's definitely one of the fastest guys on the grid. And then we've got Vengeance, who joined us last year, and Vengeance, as we know, is very fast as well. So there we go, that was some great racing, lots of different strategies there. It seems to go by so quickly, really, when you're commentating, and you don't seem to see so much of it. Anyway, so this is race 2 of 4-race season. Next week I think we're at Daytona Road Track, which is going to be incredibly interesting again. And we've got the Group 4 Championship that runs on a Wednesday. That's run by Simon. So I think if anyone's interested in joining our group, we run 2 championships at the moment. I think we're probably going to be looking at starting another one once we get these 2 fully up and running properly. But if you're interested, they're a good group of guys. We'll get you in the chat. There's always lots of interaction in the chat, and we can see if we can get you into one of the championships. So that's about it for me for now. So thanks for putting up with me, and I hope the YouTube channel was running okay and not glitching so much. Again, as I said, we're kind of finding our feet in a moment. Things will improve, so stick with us, and hopefully we'll see you next Sunday for race 3. So for now, I'll say goodbye. So thank you very much for watching.